Good morning, students. In the last class, we read the poem number 3, "Keeping Quiet," written by Pablo Neruda. And in this poem, we read that the writer, the poet, actually wanted to tell us the necessity of quiet introspection. Introspection means to look within, to analyze ourselves, to see our own activities and analyze our own activities. So here, this is a poem that the poet tells us that he actually wanted that the people should take some rest also. They should introspect, they should think about themselves, and it would help them in understanding themselves also. And he also asked the people not to move their arms, not to you can say do any kind of violence. He also asked them to stop using any machines. He also asked them that he also tells them that when they would be keeping quiet, when they would be meditating for some time, when they would be very still and calm and quiet and silent, then they would feel a strangement in the atmosphere, and they will get, you can say, united with other people. They will get unity of mind. Then the mutual understanding, it would lead to mutual understanding and brotherhood and togetherness also. Then he also tells us that the people will stop doing any harmful activities, like a fisherman would stop catching whales, and at the same time the other people, you can say, they would stop collecting a lot of money, because in the third or fourth paragraph we had a line that the people would start looking at their his hurt hands. His hurt hands was actually having the meaning that the people who are thoughtlessly, they are materialistically, they are collecting a lot of money and wealth, they should stop their harmful activities for some time, and they should stop exploiting the nature. And in the last paragraph that we read yesterday was, "Those who prepare," I'm going to read it from the very first line. This is page number 96. "Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors." According to Pablo Neruda, the people who are the warmongers, who promote wars, they should stop doing these illegal or maybe inhuman activities against humanity. They should stop waging wars. They should stop preparing themselves for green wars. Green wars means they should stop their illegal or maybe unethical activities against the environment. They should stop harming environment. The people, they should stop making bombs, or maybe hydrogen and nitrogen bombs should not be made by these people. And the people who actually wanted that there should be wars with fire, means who actually wanted, who were promoting atomic wars, they should also stop themselves from these kind of activities. Victory with no survivors. And at the same time, the people, if they are going to promote these kind of activities, nobody would survive after the war. If a third world war happens now, nobody is going to see, nobody is going to have any kind of, you can say, happiness after this. Why? Because they will never be able to see all this world. Nobody is going to enjoy, nobody would be able to celebrate this. Why? Because this is going to be the end of humanity. Nobody will be able to find any happiness, because everybody is going to die, and nobody will be surviving after the war, and nobody would be able to celebrate this happiness, because these kind of wars would bring death to each and everyone, would put on clean clothes. And he also tells us that the people, they should stop their harmful activities now. They should stop killing the humanity, and now they should put on clean clothes. Clean clothes means they should start having, you can say, peaceful thoughts. Peaceful thoughts are actually written here as clean clothes. And C sound is again repeated again and again, clean clothes. So here alliteration is also used by the poet. And walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. In the shade means in the peaceful atmosphere we should talk with each and everybody. We should try to resolve our disputes with the people. And doing nothing means we should have some leisure time when we should stop our harmful activities and we should exploiting nature. We should stop waging or promoting wars. Next paragraph. What I want should not be confused. Now, this line is very important because the poet actually wanted to clear his thought. He wanted to make it clear that he never was advocating, he was never promoting total inactivity, because he has not asked that the people should die. He has not asked that people should leave their work forever. He has asked us to have a break from the humdrum life. He wanted to have a break from the rush, from the hurry of life. He wanted that for some time we should stay, we should have peace of mind, and we should have introspection and meditation and stillness in our lives. But he says that we should not get confused that he was asking for death. He was never asking that we should die. He was never asking that we should leave our work forever. He wanted that we should take a break, and after the break we should come back to life again. We should come back to work again. So he says that whatever he has said, it should not be confused with in total inactivity, because he was not asking us to get into total inactivity, or he never was promoting death. Life is what it is about. Now, this is again very important. According to him, life is actually about moving. Life is actually about developing, about growing, about, you can say, movement and activity. So we cannot think about life without activity. So he says that he never wanted to promote inactivity. He was never asking us to die. He says that stop your activities for some time, introspect yourself, analyze your activities, and after analyzing, after checking your things, after checking your activities, just go back to life again. I want no truck with death. Again, a very important line. I want no truck. No truck here means I am not associating this life with death at all. When he is asking us to get into inactivity, he is not associating this idea with death at all. He says that life is actually connected with life and not with death. So nobody should think that he was promoting or asking us to die or to become inactive forever. And he has no concern, this idea has no concern with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving. Now this line is very important because he wanted to tell us, if we are not so selfish, if we are not so single-minded, if we are not having the single idea in the mind of materialistic development, if we can put those things, those developments aside for some time, if we are not so self-centered, if we are not so selfish, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness. So he says, if we are still able to see what is right and what is wrong, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt. Means maybe this huge silence, please underline this word, huge silence here means that silence for a long time, means that silence, this meditation, this rest from the hurries of life might interrupt the sadness. Means this kind of meditation, this kind of inactivity for some time might interrupt means may fight against sadness. Maybe because according to the poet, there is sadness in our hearts, means we are sad, we are disappointed. The human beings, they are always having a lot of miseries in their life, they are never happy. So this unhappiness, this sadness can be interrupted means it can be disturbed or it can be taken out from the hearts. And now he says that the human beings, they are sad. Why? These are the two reasons. Maybe a question in the board exams can be asked that what kind of sadness the poet was telling us about. So Pablo Neruda actually tells us that there is sadness in the hearts of the human beings, and this sadness can be brought out, it can be thrown away, it can be drawn away by the human beings if they would introspect, if they would think about themselves, and they will be able to understand themselves. But what is that sadness is all about? Sadness is actually there lies inside our hearts because of two reasons: because of never understanding ourselves. Number one, because we are so busy with our work, we have no time to think about ourselves. We are never paying any heed or attention to understand ourselves, and of threatening ourselves with death. And the second thing that is troubling our hearts is the sadness is actually there lying inside our hearts because of two reasons. Number one, because we don't understand ourselves. Number two, we are threatened with death because we are fearful of death, because we don't understand death, because we don't know anything about death, and we are fearful of death. We have that fright, that dread of death inside our hearts. So these are the two reasons. According to Pablo Neruda, there lies sadness in the hearts, and this sadness is due to two reasons. Number one, that we don't understand ourselves, and number two, that we are threatened, we are fearful of dying. And when we would have that huge silence, when we would be staying for some time, when we would be meditation, we would have that meditation for some time, we would be silent, that silence would interrupt, would actually create, you can say, some trouble for that sadness, and that sadness can be thrown away, can be drawn out only by huge silence, by introspection, when we would analyze our own activities. Second last paragraph. Perhaps the death can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now this is again very important. This is actually what poet has done. He has personified the earth. Now he says that earth actually is going to teach us. How earth can teach us? Because earth is the best example of activity and inactivity. Means earth also does a lot of work throughout year, but in winter season, in some months, it would seem to die, and in these months it would seem that the earth has died and it is not doing any activity. But actually earth is doing a lot of introspection, and the seeds which are put inside or maybe under the ground, they would get sprouted after some time. So earth is the best example which shows us, and it proves that under apparent stillness there is life, that even it seems that earth is not doing any activity, it has died, but even in that season the earth is doing a lot of introspection, and after some days, after some months, those seeds will get sprouted and they would prove fruitful. So in the same manner, from this hour of silence, introspection and inactivity, we learn that we should also think about our own activities, and we should also take some rest. But after that rest, we should come back and we should get back to work. And he says that the poet has given the example of the earth, and it actually illustrates that this is the idea that stillness does not mean total inactivity, because earth has taught the lesson that when everything seems dead, the earth remains still alive because it is doing its work, but it has taken some rest. And in other seasons, maybe in winter season it would stop working, in spring season it would bring back its life again and it would start working again. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I'll go. Now the poet asks the readers that we should stop our work, we should stay for some time, because now the poet is going to count up to 12, and after counting up to 12, You keep quiet means the readers, they should keep quiet, and the poet is going to go. He is leaving us, but he has actually counted up to 12, and he wanted the readers to keep quiet, to have self introspection. He wanted us to analyze our own activities. He wanted us to look within. So this is the end of the poem. I hope you will have enjoyed this poem. This is a very beautiful poem, giving an idea how to become inactive for some time, but it does not mean total inactivity. It does not mean death, but he wants us to stay for some time, think about our own activities, and after analyzing our activities, we should go back to work. So I hope you will have get some idea about the poem. In the next class we are going to have the question answers and the summary and some different things. Till then, stay safe. Thank you very much.